The first sign something was wrong was the smell. Lavender air freshener, my mother-in-law's signature scent, hit me the moment I opened our front door. After 2 blissful weeks away in Maui, that artificial floral punch felt like a slap in the face. My name is Audrey, and I spent the last decade trying to keep peace with a woman who treats boundaries like suggestions. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I stepped into my living room that day. "Surprise!" Veronica's voice rang out, dripping with false sweetness. "Don't you just love what I've done with the place?" I froze. My vibrant teal walls were now a lifeless beige. My carefully curated art collection, pieces I'd spent years collecting, had vanished. In their place hung generic prints of landscapes you'd find in a dentist's office. My vintage leather armchair, the one I'd restored myself, was gone. Everything that made this space mine had been erased. "Mom?" Ismail's voice cracked behind me. What did you do?" "Oh, honey, I just couldn't stand seeing you two live like this anymore." Veronica gestured around the room. "All those loud colors and that eclectic furniture. Now it looks like proper adults live here." I turned to my husband, my voice barely above a whisper. "How did she get in?" Ismail wouldn't meet my eyes. He shifted his weight from foot to foot. A tell I'd learned meant he was hiding something. I gave her a key a few months ago, just in case of emergencies." Emergencies. The word felt bitter in my mouth. "Like my taste in decor?" "Now, Audrey," Veronica stepped forward, "don't be dramatic. I did you both a favor. This is what a real home should look like." I walked through the house in a daze, cataloging each violation. The kitchen's red accent wall, gone. My office, with its wall-to-wall bookshelves, transformed into a proper guest room. But when I reached my art studio, my legs nearly gave out. The room was empty. My easels, my supplies, my half-finished paintings, all gone, replaced by beige walls and a generic daybed. "Where are my things?" I managed to ask, gripping the doorframe for support. "Oh, I had the boys take everything to storage," Veronica waved dismissively. "All that clutter was giving me anxiety. Besides, you hardly use this room anyway." "Hardly used?" I spun around to face her. "I work here. This is my studio, where I make my living." "Come on, babe," Ismail finally spoke up. "Mom was just trying to help. And you have to admit the house looks more professional now." I stared at him, this stranger wearing my husband's face. 10 years of marriage and he couldn't see what was happening? Or worse, he did see and he didn't care. "Professional," I repeated, "like a model home or a mausoleum." "Now you're just being ungrateful," Veronica huffed. "Do you know how much work this took? How much money I spent? Money you spent redecorating a house that isn't yours." My voice was steady now, cold. "Without permission, without consulting the people who actually live here." "I didn't need permission. Your son isn't the only person who lives here." I cut her off. "This is my home too, or it was." I turned and walked upstairs, ignoring Ismail calling after me. "Don't overreact, babe." In our bedroom, also now beige, I opened my drawer to grab my phone charger. A folded note sat on top of my neatly reorganized clothes. In Veronica's flowing script, "You're welcome. At least now it looks like someone lives here." I stood there, holding that note, feeling something shift inside me. All these years of swallowing my words, of playing nice, of trying to keep the peace. And this was my reward. My identity, my space, my work, all erased with a spare key and a mother's good intentions. Well, if they wanted war, they'd get one. But first, I needed to make a call. I pulled out my phone and dialed my best friend Lana. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey girl, how was the vacation?" "Lana," my voice was eerily calm, "I need the number of that locksmith you used after your divorce, and maybe your lawyer's number too." "Oh shit," she said. "What happened?" I looked around at the beige walls closing in around me. Let's just say, I'm done playing nice. The locksmith arrived at 7 a.m. sharp, while Ismael was still sleeping. I'd spent the entire night documenting everything, photographing, listing, calculating. My hands shook as I wrote, but my mind was crystal clear. You sure about changing all the locks? The locksmith asked, eyeing my spreadsheet. Seems like a family matter. That's exactly why I'm sure. I handed him my credit card. And I need the most secure system you've got. While he worked, Lana showed up with coffee and her trademark brutal honesty. Holy shit, she whispered, taking in the beige wasteland of my living room. It's like a pottery barn threw up in here. Wait till you see my studio. I led her upstairs and her gasp echoed through the empty room. Your paintings, your supplies, that piece you were working on for the gallery showing? All gone. I checked another item off my list, along with about $12,000 worth of professional art supplies. Please tell me your pressing charges. Before I could answer, Ismael appeared in the doorway, still in his pajamas. What's going on? Why is there a locksmith downstairs? Funny how you noticed that, I said, not looking up from my list, but didn't notice your mother planning a complete home invasion. Come on, that's not fair. No, I cut him off. What's not fair is coming home to find everything I own either missing or destroyed. What's not fair is discovering my husband gave his mother permission to violate our home. I didn't give her permission to... You gave her a key. I finally looked at him. Without telling me, without asking me, that's permission. The locksmith called up from downstairs. All done, Mom. Need a demo of the new security system? Be right there. I gathered my papers. Oh, and Ismael, here's your copy of the invoice. He flipped through the pages, his face growing paler. $38,000? This has to be a mistake. No mistake. That's the itemized value of everything your mother took or destroyed, plus the new locks and security system. I pointed to specific lines. My easels, my supplies, the vintage furniture, the art collection. It's all there. This is ridiculous, he sputtered. You can't expect us to pay for... Actually, I can, and I will. I handed him a second document. My lawyer says I have an excellent case for criminal damage and theft, but I'm giving you and your mother a chance to make this right first. Your lawyer? His voice cracked. When did you... Last night, while you were sleeping soundly in our beige bedroom. Lana snorted behind me, earning a glare from Ismael. You have 48 hours to get my things back and arrange payment, I continued. After that, I filed charges. You're being hysterical, he said, but his hands were shaking. I'm calling Mom. Put her on speaker, I said. I want to hear this. He did, and Veronica answered on the first ring. Darling, is everything okay? Mom, Audrey's lost her mind. She's demanding payment for... I can speak for myself, I interrupted. Veronica, you have 48 hours to return everything you took and pay for damages. Otherwise, I'm pressing charges for theft and destruction of property. There was a long pause before Veronica's voice came back, dripping with venom. I always knew you were unstable, Audrey. This just proves it. The only thing unstable here is your grip on reality, I replied. 48 hours, clock's ticking. I hung up before she could respond. Ismael stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're really willing to destroy this family over some furniture? Lana stepped forward before I could answer. Hey, I need to tell you something, she said to me. Yesterday, I overheard Veronica at the grocery store. She was telling Mrs. Roberts from next door about erasing the mess that Audrey made. This wasn't some spontaneous redecorating spree. She planned this. The blood drained from Ismael's face. I turned to him, suddenly feeling very calm. You know what? You're right. This isn't about furniture. This is about respect, boundaries, and trust. All the things you and your mother destroyed along with my belongings. I handed him a new key. The locks are changed. Don't share this one with anyone. And Ismael, the next time you have to choose between being a good son and being a good husband, try making the right choice. I walked out of the room, Lana following close behind. As we descended the stairs, I heard Ismael dialing his phone again, probably calling his mother for damage control. "You okay?" Lana asked softly. I looked around at my beige prison, feeling something between rage and resolution. "No," I answered honestly, "but I will be." The new neighbor, Brinley, answered her door with a sympathetic look that told me she already knew why I was there. "I was wondering when you'd come by." "So you've heard?" I asked, accepting her invitation inside. "Everyone has." She poured us both coffee. "Veronica's been vocal about the situation. Said you left her no choice." "Left her no choice?" My coffee cup clinked hard against its saucer. "What exactly did she say?" Brinley shifted uncomfortably. "That your house was becoming an embarrassment to the neighborhood, that Ismael was too afraid to confront you about it. She kept saying something about tough love being necessary." I'd scheduled an emergency session with Evelyn, my therapist, right after this conversation. Now, sitting in her office, I could barely keep still. "She planned it," I said, pacing. "She actually convinced people I was some kind of hoarder? A neighborhood embarrassment?" Evelyn watched me carefully. "Sit down, Audrey. Let's talk about why this feels like a tipping point." "Because it is." But I sat anyway. 10 years, Evelyn. 10 years of helpful suggestions and passive-aggressive comments. 10 years of showing up uninvited to our anniversaries because family should be together. 10 years of Christmas gifts with strings attached. Like what? Like the time she gave us a vacation package, but only if we stayed at her timeshare, followed her itinerary, and let her come along. I laughed bitterly. Or the emergency fund she set up for us, which she used to track our spending habits. And how did Ismael handle these situations? He'd say I was being ungrateful, that his mom was just trying to help. I pulled out my phone, showing Evelyn the latest text from him. "Look at this. You're humiliating me. You're blowing things way out of proportion." "Are you?" "No." I stood up again. "She broke into my house, Evelyn. She destroyed my art studio, my work, my identity. And she did it with my husband's blessing. So what do you really want here, Audrey? Revenge? Justice? Understanding?" I stopped pacing. "I want proof. I want everyone to see what she really is, not this sweet, helpful mother-in-law act she puts on." "And then what?" "Then..." I sat back down, deflating slightly. "Then maybe I can finally stop feeling crazy." After the session, I drove home, my mind racing with memories. The time Veronica rearranged our kitchen while we were at work. The countless dinners where she'd critique my cooking under the guise of helpful tips. The way she'd introduce me as Ismael's wife instead of using my name. I was so lost in thought. I almost missed the thick envelope sticking out of our mailbox. Inside was an old deed to the house, one I'd never seen before. And there, listed as a co-signer, was Veronica's name. My phone rang. It was Lana. "You need to check your email," she said without preamble. "I did some digging about that house deed." I pulled up my laptop, scanning through the documents she'd sent. "It expired years ago," I said. "She was only a co-signer because Ismael needed help qualifying for the mortgage." "Yeah, but look at the dates. She maintained co-ownership for 3 years longer than necessary. And get this, she never removed herself. The bank did during a routine audit. So she still thinks she has a stake in this house?" The pieces started falling into place. "That's why she felt entitled to..." "Oh my God." "There's more," Lana said. "Remember that insurance claim she filed last month? For damaged property at your address?" "What damaged property?" "Exactly. She filed a claim for items she doesn't own in a house she doesn't legally have any right to. That's insurance fraud, honey." I ended the call and immediately texted both Ismael and Veronica. Family meeting, tomorrow, 2 p.m., non-negotiable. Ismael responded first. This has gone far enough. Veronica's reply came seconds later. I have nothing to discuss with someone so vindictive. I sent them both the same photo, the expired deed with Veronica's name on it, followed by 2 p.m. or the insurance company gets an interesting phone call. Their responses came in quick succession. Ismael, fine. Veronica, we'll be there. I sat back, feeling a strange calm settle over me. Tomorrow, everything would come out. The lies, the manipulation, the years of careful orchestration. I was done being the crazy one, the ungrateful one, the difficult daughter-in-law. My phone buzzed again. A text from Dallas, Ismael's childhood friend. You might want to see this. Attached was a screenshot of messages between Ismael and his mother, dated 3 weeks before our vacation. Ismael. LOL. Yeah, we'll be gone for 2 weeks. Plenty of time to fix Audrey's taste in decorating. Veronica. Don't worry, honey. Mom knows best. I stared at the screen, my hands steady for the first time in days. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. Lana arrived an hour before the meeting to help me prepare. We spread the evidence across the dining room table. The expired deed, insurance claim documents, screenshots, photos of my destroyed studio, and the itemized list of damages. You sure you want me here for this? She asked. I need a witness, someone they can't gaslight. I checked my phone. They'll be here any minute. Right on cue, the doorbell rang. Ismael and Veronica entered together, a united front. How fitting. Well, Veronica said, eyeing Lana, I wasn't aware this would be a public spectacle. Funny, that's exactly what I thought when I came home to find my house redesigned. I gestured to the chairs. Sit. They did, Veronica's perfect posture a stark contrast to Ismael's nervous slouch. First, I began, let's talk about this. I slid the expired deed across the table. Care to explain why you never removed yourself as co-signer, Veronica? That's ancient history, she waved dismissively. A mother helping her son. A mother maintaining control, I corrected. Just like the insurance claim you filed last month. Her face tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? I produced the claim documents. Because according to this, you filed for $15,000 in damaged property at this address, property you don't own. That's ridiculous, Ismael cut in. Mom would never. Shut up, Ismael. Veronica's voice cracked like a whip. This is just another example of Audrey trying to drive a wedge between us. She's never understood our family dynamic. Oh, I understand perfectly. I pulled out my phone. Like these messages between you two planning to fix my taste while we were away? Ismael's face went white. How did you? Dallas sent them. Turns out not everyone thinks your behavior is normal. That traitor, Veronica hissed. He's always been jealous of our close relationship. Close? I laughed. You mean suffocating, controlling. You've made Ismael completely dependent on your approval. I've made him successful. Veronica stood up, her calm facade cracking. Look at him now, a beautiful home, a respectable career, and then you came along with your art and your chaos and your independent thinking. You've made him less of a man. Mom, Ismael whispered, but she was on a roll. He used to have ambition, goals. Now he's content to live in this circus. Watching you play at being an artist, I had to do something. So you broke into our home. My voice was ice. You destroyed my livelihood. You committed insurance fraud. I did what any good mother would do. A good mother? I stood up too. A good mother respects boundaries. A good mother doesn't manipulate her son into betraying his wife. A good mother doesn't commit crimes and call it love. Ismael just sat there silent as always, letting his mother rant. In that moment, I saw our entire future. Years of this same dynamic, this same betrayal, this same silence. I've contacted a lawyer. I said quietly. The insurance fraud alone could get you 3 to 5 years. Add breaking and entering, destruction of property. You wouldn't dare. But Veronica's voice trembled. Try me. I gathered the documents. You have two choices. One, you both publicly apologize, replace everything you destroyed, and stay out of our lives. Two, I press charges and everyone learns exactly what kind of person you are. You'll regret this, Veronica snarled, grabbing her purse. You'll regret destroying this family. She stormed out. Ismail finally looked at me, his eyes pleading. Babe, please. She's my mother, and I'm your wife. Or did you forget that when you were laughing about fixing my taste? He flinched. Those messages, I was just humoring her. Get out. My voice was steady. When you decide whether you want to be a husband or a mama's boy, let me know. Until then, stay at her house. I'm sure it's decorated perfectly. After they left, Lana hugged me tight. You okay? No. I looked around at the beige walls, feeling trapped. But I will be. My phone buzzed, a text from Dallas. You did the right thing. There's more you should know. Can we meet? I showed Lana the message. She squeezed my shoulder. Want me to come with you? No. I took a deep breath. I need to hear this on my own. I texted back. Tomorrow, coffee shop on Main, 10 a.m. His response was immediate. I'll be there. And Audrey, I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. Looking around at my violated home, I wondered what other secrets were about to come to light. Whatever they were, I was done being silent, done being nice, done being the perfect daughter-in-law. It was time for the truth, no matter how ugly. Dallas was already waiting when I arrived at the coffee shop, 2 drinks on the table. He pushed one toward me as I sat down. Oat milk latte, extra shot, he said. Ismail always made fun of your coffee order. Of course he did. I took a sip. So what couldn't you tell me over text? Dallas pulled out his phone, scrolling through a conversation. This goes back months. They've been planning this since January. He handed me the phone. My stomach churned as I read, Ismail. Mom's right. The house looks like a gallery threw up in it. Veronica. Just give me a key, honey. I'll take care of everything. Ismail. Audrey will freak out. Veronica. She'll thank us later. Trust me. Keep reading, Dallas said quietly. The messages got worse. They'd discussed which pieces of my art to accidentally damage, which furniture to claim was unsalvageable, how to make me sound unstable if I protested. Why are you showing me this? My voice cracked. Because I've watched this pattern my whole life. Veronica did the same thing to Ismail's first girlfriend in college, and his high school girlfriend before that. Anyone who threatens her control gets eliminated. I pushed the phone back to him. Why didn't you say something sooner? Honestly, I was a coward. He looked down. But watching them systematically destroy your life, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. My phone buzzed. Evelyn confirming our emergency session. I have to go, I stood up. But Dallas, thank you. At Evelyn's office, I could barely sit still. I'm filing for legal separation, I announced before she could even speak. Tell me why, she said, pulling out her notepad. Because my husband is a coward who let his mother systematically destroy everything I care about. Because they planned it for months. Because... My voice broke. Because I don't recognize the man I married anymore. And how does that make you feel? Angry, betrayed, but mostly... I took a deep breath. Mostly I feel free. Like I can finally stop pretending. When I got home, Ismail was waiting on the porch. He stood up as I approached, holding out a bouquet of roses. Babe, please, can we talk? About what? I walked past him to unlock the door. About how you and your mother plan to destroy my studio, or about how you think my coffee order is stupid? He froze. How did you? Dallas showed me everything. I turned to face him. Every message, every plan, every little joke at my expense. I can explain. Don't bother. I pulled out an envelope. This is a legal separation agreement. My lawyer drew it up this morning. You're not serious. He laughed nervously. Come on, babe. We can work this out. I'll make it up to you. Like you made up for the last 10 times your mother crossed a line? Or the 10 times before that? I'll do better. I promise. Look. He pulled out his phone. I'll call Mom right now. Make her apologize. It's too late. I opened the door. You had 10 years to choose me. You never did. What do you want from me? His voice rose. She's my mother, and I'm your wife. Or I was, until you helped her erase me from my own home. He grabbed my arm. You're overreacting. Let go. My voice was ice. Or the next call I make will be to the police. He dropped his hand like he'd been burned. You wouldn't. I pulled out my phone and opened the neighborhood Facebook group. Want to bet? What are you doing? Writing a post. Has anyone else experienced property destruction or insurance fraud in our neighborhood? Asking for legal reasons. Don't you dare, I hit post. Too late. He stared at his phone as notifications started pinging. Delete that, now. Or what? You'll let your mother redecorate my life again? This isn't funny, Audrey. No, I agreed. It's not. Neither is this. I showed him my screen. The post was already getting responses. Lots of them. You're going to destroy everything, he whispered. No, that was you and your mother. I'm just shining a light on it. His phone rang. Veronica's ringtone. He looked at me, then the phone. Panic in his eyes. Better answer that, I said, walking inside. Wouldn't want to keep Mommy waiting. I closed the door on his stammered protests, leaning against it as my phone buzzed with a new notification. A direct message from someone named Livia. I saw your post. Veronica is my mother. She did the same thing to me 15 years ago. Want to hear the real story? I stared at the message, my hands shaking. Outside, I could hear Ismail arguing with his mother on the phone. I took a deep breath and typed back, Yes, tell me everything. Livia looked exactly like a younger version of Veronica, but her eyes held none of her mother's calculated coldness. We met at a small cafe 2 towns over, away from prying eyes. I haven't spoken to her in 15 years, Livia said, stirring her coffee. Not since she destroyed my relationship with my father. What happened? She redecorated my first apartment while I was at college, threw away everything my dad had given me, then told him I'd done it myself because I hated him. Livia's hands shook. He believed her. Why wouldn't he? She was his perfect wife. And Ismail never mentioned having a sister? Of course not. I'm the family shame, the one who abandoned her mother. She pulled out her phone. I've kept everything, though. Every manipulative text, every gaslighting email, every fake insurance claim. My eyes widened. She's done this before? It's her signature move. Destroy something, claim it was damaged, collect the insurance. She did it to my art supplies, too. I was a photographer. Was? She convinced everyone I was unstable, that my obsession with photography was unhealthy. Livia's laugh was bitter. Sound familiar? I pulled out my own phone, opening Reddit. Do you mind if I share your story? Anonymously? Please do. It's time everyone knew the truth. That night, I wrote everything, the home invasion, the gaslighting, Livia's story. I posted it under a throwaway account. My husband gave his mother a key to our house. She destroyed everything while we were on vacation. By morning, the post had exploded. Thousands of comments, multiple news sites requesting interviews, local Facebook groups sharing screenshots. My phone rang. It was Lana. Have you seen the neighborhood page? Veronica's losing it. I checked. Veronica had posted a long rant about ungrateful daughters-in-law and mental instability. The comments were not in her favor. Her bridge club is canceling her membership, Lana continued, and apparently she was up for president of the HOA. Not anymore, I'm guessing? They're asking her to step down from the nomination committee entirely. My phone buzzed with another call. Ismail. I ignored it. The gallery called, Lana said. They're offering you their backspace to rebuild your studio. Community donations are already coming in. I felt tears forming. Really? Really, people are pissed. Like, really pissed. Someone even started a GoFundMe. That afternoon, I visited the gallery. The owner, Maria, showed me the space. It's yours, she said. No rent for 6 months. Consider it a statement against toxic family dynamics. I walked the empty room, already seeing possibilities. It needs something, I said, running my hand along the blank wall by the entrance. Like what? I smiled. A plaque. 2 weeks later, I stood in my new studio, watching as the installer finished mounting the brass plaque. My walls, my story, my life. Lana whistled. Subtle. I'm done being subtle. I adjusted a canvas on my easel, a painting of a beige room being consumed by flames. Subtle didn't work. Speaking of not subtle, she handed me an envelope. This came to the gallery for you. I recognized Ismail's handwriting immediately. Inside was a single page. Remove the posts, delete the stories, or our lawyers will handle this publicly. You have 24 hours to comply. He's really going there? Lana asked, reading over my shoulder. Let him. I pulled out my phone and dialed my lawyer. Hey, it's Audrey. Remember that insurance fraud evidence? Time to use it. The next few days were a blur of legal notices, social media explosions, and community support. Veronica's carefully crafted reputation crumbled. Ismail's company started an ethics investigation after clients questioned his integrity. I focused on my art. Each piece told a story of control, of freedom, of rising from beige ashes. The gallery scheduled a showing titled Reclamation. On opening night, Livia came. She hugged me tight. Thank you, she whispered, for being braver than I was. You survived her, I said. That's plenty brave. We stood together, looking at my centerpiece, a massive canvas showing a woman breaking free from a house made of chains. To karma, Livia raised her champagne glass. May it always find its target. Lana joined us, grinning. Speaking of karma, guess who just got rejected from 3 different country clubs? Let me guess. Someone who redecorates other people's houses? And her enabling son. The gallery door chimed. We turned to see Veronica standing there, looking older and smaller than I remembered. Audrey, she said softly, I want to talk. I looked at her. This woman who'd tried to erase me, who'd driven away her own daughter, who'd controlled and manipulated and destroyed in the name of love. I walked to the door, met her eyes, and slowly, deliberately turned the lock. Click. The letter arrived by certified mail 3 days after I locked Veronica out of the gallery. Ismail's final attempt at control, printed on expensive legal letterhead, your public statements have caused irreparable damage to our family's reputation. Cease and desist immediately, or face legal consequences. You have 24 hours to comply. I laid it on my desk next to my own stack of documents, police reports, insurance fraud evidence, testimonials from other victims of Veronica's redecorating sprees. My lawyer had been busy. My phone buzzed. Lana, turn on Channel 4 right now. I flipped on the studio TV just in time to see Veronica being interviewed outside her country club. These accusations are completely false, she was saying, her perfect mask cracking slightly. My daughter-in-law is clearly unstable. And what about your daughter? The reporter interrupted. Livia has provided extensive documentation of similar incidents. Veronica's face went white. No comment. I took a picture of the TV screen and sent it to my lawyer with the message, "Time to respond?" She called immediately. "I've drafted our counter notice. Want to hear the damages we're claiming? I sat down with my coffee as she read the list. Property destruction, emotional distress, lost income, legal fees. The total made me choke on my drink. Send it, I said, to both of them. Already did. Check your email. You'll want to see Veronica's response. I opened the attachment. A single line. You're making a terrible mistake. My phone buzzed again. Evelyn this time. How are you holding up? Better than expected? I looked around my new studio. The gallery opening is tonight. You should come. Wouldn't miss it. By the way, have you seen the HOA newsletter? I pulled it up on my laptop and burst out laughing. There, in black and white. Emergency election notice, presidency vacancy following ethics investigation. Karma's having a field day, I told Evelyn. Speaking of which, she paused. Ismail's been calling my office. My heart skipped. Why? He wants couples counseling, says he's ready to fix things. I thought about the messages Dallas showed me, the months of planning, the laughter at my expense. Tell him he can fix things by paying the invoice I sent. Every penny. Hours later, during final preparations for the gallery opening, Maria rushed in. Audrey, you need to see this. She handed me her tablet. On it was an email from Veronica's attorney withdrawing all legal complaints. Attached was a bank transfer confirmation, the full amount of my invoice. Holy shit, Lana whispered, reading over my shoulder. They actually paid? Look who sent it, Maria pointed. The transfer was from Dallas. He arrived at the gallery just as we were hanging the final piece, my largest work yet, titled The Invoice of Vengeance. A massive canvas covered in receipt papers, legal documents, and photographs, all consumed by vibrant colors breaking through beige walls. Consider it conscience money, he said when I tried to thank him. I watched them do this for 20 years. Never said anything. This is me finally doing the right thing. But that amount is nothing compared to what they've taken from others. He looked at Livia across the room. From family. The opening was packed. Art critics, local media, curious neighbors. My work sold faster than we could market sold. Each piece told part of the story, the invasion, the erasure, the reclamation. Lana raised her glass for a toast. To painting karma with the boldest colors. Everyone cheered, but Evelyn pulled me aside. Remember what we talked about? Revenge isn't who you are, it's what you've outgrown. This isn't revenge anymore, I said, gesturing to the gallery. This is resurrection. As if on cue, the door chimed. Veronica stood there again, but this time she wasn't alone. Ismail was with her, looking lost without his mother's usual confidence bolstering him. We need to talk, he said. I walked to the door, feeling everyone's eyes on us. No, I replied calmly. We really don't. Audrey, please. The invoice is paid. The legal threats are withdrawn. We're done here. Veronica stepped forward. You've destroyed our family. No, Livia's voice rang out as she joined me at the door. You did that yourself, Mom. Years ago. I watched something break in Veronica's perfect facade. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I closed the door on their protests, turning back to my gallery, my art, my truth displayed on every wall. You okay? Lana asked softly. I looked at my newest piece, still wet on the easel, a phoenix rising from a beige room, trailing colors like victory flags. Never better. The final box from my old house sat unopened in my new apartment above the gallery. I'd been avoiding it for days, knowing what was inside. The last remnants of my married life, carefully packed by Lana while I was finalizing the divorce. Want company while you tackle that? She asked, bringing me coffee. Actually, yes, I cut through the tape. Help me decide what to burn. Inside were photo albums, wedding mementos, and at the bottom, a familiar beige envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. What is that? Lana peered over my shoulder. The original house deed, with Veronica's name on it. I pulled out my phone. Time to frame it. For the gallery? For my newest piece. Downstairs, my latest exhibition was in full swing. The beige room had become something of a local legend, drawing crowds daily. Today's visitors included a reporter from a major art magazine. "Your work speaks to anyone who's ever felt erased," she said, notebook in hand. "How does it feel to have turned such a personal violation into a movement?" Before I could answer, the gallery door chimed. Dallas walked in, holding a thick envelope. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, "but you need to see this." Inside was a cashier's check for my entire legal fees with a note. "Foreclosure. From someone who once made the wrong choice." "Ismael?" I asked. Dallas shook his head. "Found it in my mailbox. Anonymous, but the handwriting—" "Veronica," I whispered. "There's more." He pulled out his phone. "She's selling her house, moving across the country. Ismael's not going with her." I let that sink in as I walked through my gallery. Each piece told part of our story, the invasion, the betrayal, the liberation. But the centerpiece, the beige room, drew everyone's attention. It showed a woman standing in a colorless room, her shadow bursting with every color imaginable. "What do you think?" Livia appeared beside me. "Should we believe she's really changed?" "I don't know." I studied the check. "But this feels like surrender." "Or manipulation," Lana added. "Either way," I said, "I'm framing this too, right next to the deed." The reporter caught up with us. "One last question. What would you say to others facing similar situations?" I looked at my art, at Livia, at the community that had rallied around us. I'd say, don't let anyone beige out your colors. That evening, during the gallery's closing hours, an unexpected visitor arrived. Ismael stood awkwardly by the beige room, studying it intently. "It's not for sale," I said, making him jump. "I'm not here to buy anything." He turned, looking older somehow, tired. "I'm here to apologize, for real this time." "Why now?" "Because I finally saw myself in your art, that shadow person, letting someone else choose their colors." He swallowed hard. "I don't want to be that person anymore." "Good for you." I meant it. "But that's your journey, not mine." "I know, He pulled out his phone, showing me a text from Veronica. "She's leaving, asked me to go with her." And I said no. For the first time in my life, I said no to her. He looked around the gallery. "You taught me that. Through all of this." I studied him, this man I'd once loved, who'd let his mother erase me from my own life. He seemed smaller now, but somehow more real. "Thank you," I said finally, "for choosing yourself." He nodded, understanding this wasn't forgiveness, just acknowledgement. As he turned to leave, he paused. "That piece," he pointed to my newest work, still unfinished. "What's it called?" "Clean Up, Repainted." After he left, I returned to my studio. The unfinished canvas waited, a woman painting over beige walls with bold, defiant strokes. Behind her, a door stood open to a world exploding with color. Lana found me there, adding final touches. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I stepped back, admiring the work. "I'm free." "Speaking of free," she grinned, "guess who just got approved for a solo exhibition in New York?" I dropped my brush. "No way." "Way. They love your story, love your art more." I looked around my studio, at the framed deed, the itemized bill, the anonymous check. Each piece of evidence now transformed into art, into truth, into power. "You know what this means?" Lana asked. "Yeah." I picked up my brush again, adding one final brilliant streak of color to the canvas. "It means I won." The paint gleamed wet and alive in the studio lights, like a declaration, like a promise, like freedom.